الإعجاب بالفيديو والاشتراك في القناة تشجيعا لنا لنستمر بنشر المزيد إن شاء الله.
In the earlier years, when I was working a job, which is important for people to hear, I was not a professional bodybuilder and I had to do work which was physically demanding as well. And at that point, I was only training 3 times a week. I did try to train 4 times a week, but I noticed very quickly I was not recovering, was not going forward, so I cut it back to 3 times a week. And eventually, as a pro bodybuilder, I was training 4 times a week. Pro bodybuilder, if you're really a pro and you're earning your living from the sport, then this is your priority, this is your goal. You have all day for this, and you're not doing another job. I was able to train 4 times a week, but in the beginning it was 3 times a week, which for most people, if they have a job and so on, this is enough if they're training correctly, high intensity, to failure and so on, because you need to recover. So 3 times a week is enough for a lot of people. When I was younger and I was training 3 times a week, I had 2 different workouts. It might seem strange because I did number 1 on Monday, number 2 on Wednesday, and number 1 again on Friday, and then the next week it was the reverse. So if you look over a period of 9 days, everything gets trained twice in 9 days. And then when I was Mr. Olympia, I was training more often, but I split it into 4 different workouts. So at that point, I was only training each body part once a week. Because as you get bigger and stronger, actually, it's taking more demands on your system. So I trained each body part a little less frequently when I was more advanced, which kind of flies in the face of what most people do or most people believe. They think as you get more advanced, you need to train more often or something like that. So I was training 4 times a week, but each body part was actually being trained less frequently because I needed more time to recover as I got bigger and stronger. But I think I was doing like legs and arms on one workout and upper body on another workout. And the workout's probably about an hour each. So again, it was not a lot of volume and a lot of sets. It was very concentrated, taking some sets to failure. So it was just 2 workouts, and then by the time I got to be professional, I had split into 4 workouts. In that case, it was training back alone. The next day, shoulders, triceps and traps. Then I would take a rest day, and then I'd do chest and biceps, and then the next day legs. And after legs, you usually take a 2-day break. You have to have some flexibility in there as well, and that's why the training diary is important, because you can make notes and you can see how you're progressing or not progressing, and sometimes you realize you need to take a break, 2-day break, or sometimes I advise people take a whole week off from the gym if they're getting stuck and plateaued. And normally they come back to me and say, wow, this is crazy, I took a week off from the gym, and guess what happened when I came back? I said, I don't need to guess, I know what happened. You were stronger, you felt better. Yeah, because you needed the rest to recover. So rest is very important. Training is important, that's the one level. That's giving the stimulus, but then you need to recover from this. So over a period of time, training hard, sometimes you need to take a complete break. So people need to keep that in mind as well. I've trained in the morning, I've trained in the evening, I've trained in the afternoon, I've trained at all different times. But when I became professional, then I had all day, so I could choose exactly when I wanted to train. And when I had the choice, I was training late morning so that I could have my breakfast early in the morning, like 8:30, and it was a big breakfast. And then around 10:30, I had a protein shake, so I didn't have, a lot of food to digest. And then about an hour after that, I was training. So usually like 11:30, that was my perfect time. It gave me time to get 1 big meal in, and 1 protein shake, and then a little rest, and then go to the gym. After that, after training, I would have a recovery drink, which was simple carbohydrates and protein again. Then I would come home and normally chicken, rice, vegetables, kind of standard stuff. And in the afternoon, I would, this is when I was pro bodybuilder. Obviously, when I was amateur, it was different because I was working. When I was a pro, I took an afternoon nap. So I would sleep for 2 hours in the afternoon. Then I would get up and eat again, usually protein shake, maybe baked potato or rice for carbohydrate. In the evening I used to do my business things, so phone calls and letters, because in the early 90s no emails, so actually reading fan mail coming in from fans in letters and replying in a letter form, which takes a bit of time, but I still get people now coming to me saying, hey, you know, I wrote to you in whatever, 93 or something like this, and you wrote a letter back to me, and they really appreciate it. It's a bit more than sending email, that's quite easy. This and phone calls, I manage my own business, sponsorship contracts, appearances, things like this to arrange myself through phone calls and mail and so on. So evenings will amazingly take with that, and then time with relax with the family and so on. So I eat again probably 8 o'clock, and maybe some steak and sweet potatoes, vegetables, and I'd eat again before I went to bed. So it's pretty regimented, like 6-7 feedings a day. That's the life of a pro bodybuilder. When I was younger and I was amateur, I had to work and other commitments. I have trained in the morning, I've trained in the evening. There's a question I get a lot: what's the best time to train? The best time to train is when you can get to the gym. Yeah, so you don't need to change your job or change your this and that. Go when you can. If I had a choice, yeah, late morning I felt was best for me, but it's more important what you do in the gym than really the time you're going there. Rest days, I would usually do a little cardio exercise, so long walks or stationary biking, stuff like that. And then, you know, the rest of the day is the same. Still going to eat the same. I didn't have the post-workout drink because I'm not training, but everything else was pretty much the same. As far as eating and sleeping and resting, I just weren't doing weights on that day, but I would do a little cardio exercise to keep some fitness levels, which I think is important. And also, I think a little cardio can help flush blood around the system and actually aid in your recovery if it's not excessive. Okay, HIT, high intensity training, really was pioneered by Arthur Jones. Arthur Jones was a guy that, actually I'm not sure what business, I think it was in filmmaking or something, but he was a very rich guy and he had no commercial interest in bodybuilding, just a curiosity of how it worked, why it worked, how does muscle growth get stimulated, why do some people have better physiques than others, and so on and so on. Anyway, Arthur Jones brought to attention quite a lot of things which people now, it's accepted. He pointed out the role that genetics play in physique development. Like, you know, not everybody can be like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Dorian Yates or Lee Haney or Ronnie, any more than anyone that plays basketball can be like Michael Jordan. There's certain things you need to be born with, lengths of muscle bellies, skeletal structure and so on. And he pointed out that the key to stimulating muscle growth is the intensity of the exercise. So there needs to be an intense stimulus, but then it needs to be a recovery period after this. Basically, this is the process. You go in the gym, if you put your body under more stress than it's used to, this is an important thing. Your body doesn't react unless it has a reason. It has to have a reason to adapt. So the workout needs to be more stressful than the previous one in order to get some stimulus. That's the first thing in the gym. You're actually breaking the muscle down, you're damaging it. You're not growing while you're in the gym. And then after this, the body needs to recover all its resources. After it's recovered, then it can overcompensate and, you know, and grow. So the recovery period, first of all, you have the intensity, the stimulus, then you need enough recovery, obviously adequate nutrition and so on to make that recovery, and then your body can overcompensate and grow. So Arthur Jones was the pioneer really of high intensity training, I guess, the first one to bring this to people's attention. And then it was brought more, I think, to the attention of a lot of people through Mike Mensa. But he kind of adapted Arthur Jones's principles to competitive bodybuilding, and I in turn took the principles from Arthur and Mike Mensa and kind of adapted a little bit myself with my own feedback and so on from over the years of trying different frequencies and listening to my body and keeping notes in a training diary. I did this and this was working, I keep it. I did this and this wasn't working, I get rid of it. So instead of just shooting in the dark and you don't really know what's going on, it's very important to track everything you're doing, and then you can look back and analyze it. I've still got all my training diaries, all my contest preparation diaries from 1983 1993 until 1997. So I can still go back and look now and say, hey, I made really good progress in this period. What was I doing? And this period not. What, you know? And it can vary a little bit from one person to another because some people need more time or less time to recover. So it's important to track things.